Hi there. This is a quick video that I'm making for someone in my new well-tempered pianist community, and it's all about trills. Now, the person that asked me this question is playing a really, really hard piece with a very long trill, and he's got to play other notes at the same time, so it's really complicated. But most of the things I have to say about trills apply to all trills, even very short trills and very slow trills, like so no matter what your level is, a lot of things to say about trills that hopefully will be of interest to you. The first thing is that people have a lot of misconceptions about trills. They think they have to be fast, and I strongly disagree. I think that it's fine to have fast trills, but you should also be able to play slow, expressive trills and trills that change speed. So maybe they start slow, they speed up in the middle and get slow at the end, or any combination that you can think of that will give your music much more expression, much more character, much more variety. I call those fast trills machine gun trills. And, they're right for some pieces, but other pieces, they just sound unnecessarily aggressive and not matching with the mood of the piece. Another thing about trills that most people don't know or do is that you should plan out the notes that you're going to play. Like, how many of them are you going to play? How many notes in whatever hand's trilling? In this video, I'm going to assume it's the right hand that's trilling. Not only that, how many are you playing, but how many in relationship to what the other hand is doing, and how did the two hands fit together? Because a lot of problems that people have with trills are not so much about the hand that's trilling, it's just that they get a little confused. They don't know where the beat is because the relationship between the hands is not, it's not explicit, so that you can't keep track of it. You can't keep it organized and feeling good if you don't even know what it is. So when I was teaching a lot of younger students, I would actually write out every note of the trill in their music or on a piece of staff paper. It's much easier to learn a trill if you write out every single note of it. I even do that for some pieces that have very long trills. I'm thinking of the Chopin Nocturne Opus 72 in E minor. It's got a kind of climactic section at the end where you have a whole bunch of trills in a row that are shifting. Very important to plan them out. So another thing that happens with trills is people get tired, or they feel that they're tense and they can't go as fast as they would like to. So the key to not feeling tense is not to relax. Relaxing isn't gonna, first of all, it's hard to do, but also it can, it's not really the solution either. You want to be able to move in a way that feels free and easy. And if you get really overly relaxed, it's gonna feel heavy and sluggish. And that's not the same as free and easy. You wanna try to find movements that are easy, feel effortless, feel integrated. And the movements that are going to work for you best for a trill are going to involve moving the forearm back and forth like this, forearm rotation. And the place that people get into the trill, first of all, one thing that people do is they don't do any rotation at all, and it's all from the fingers. And that's very easy to get tired when you're doing that. The other problem is that maybe they're kind of doing rotation, but they'll leave fingers behind, or some fingers be kind of frozen, and then they're also trying to rotate. Again, that's creating tension. So you want to be sure when you're working on the rotation that you turn the same amount, in this case to the right, that you do to the left. And then when you go to the right, everything goes to the right. Your fingers, your palm, your arm, it all goes to the right. And when you're to the left, everything goes to the left at the same speed, in the same direction. When I'm landing on either finger on the trill, I'm going to be equally tilted. So when I play my third finger, I'm tilted to the right, maybe, I don't know, I'm not that good with angles, 45 degrees? I think a little less. And I'm tilted the same amount to the left. Because if you're off balance, again, it gets kind of uneven. The fingers might jump in there and work by themselves, and I start to get tired. Let's talk about exactly which notes are you supposed to play. Because usually a trill is one of many types of music notation that I refer to as invisible notes. So there's the note that's printed there on the staff, the big note, and then there's all these other notes that you're going to play that are not printed on the staff. So what are the notes that you're supposed to play? Well, for a trill, you play the note that's printed there, and then you play the note that is above the note that is printed. Usually you stay in the key signature of the piece that you're in, not always. I'm not going to get too into that. It gets a little complicated. So the next question, a trill has two notes. So which one comes first? Do I play the one that's printed there on the page first, or do I print the one that isn't printed on the page that's above the big note that's printed there? Well, the answer is it depends. It's complicated. So if you're playing music from the Romantic period onward, which is around 1827, 1830, pretty much always start on the printed note. If you're playing music before that, again, it depends. So kind of the standard teaching is that you always start on the note above the printed note if you're playing Baroque or classical music. But my understanding is that there's room for decision making. And this is how my teacher taught it to me. She said, the first note that you play in the trill is the note that kind of sticks in the listener's ear. So that's the note. You want to choose that first note to be whatever note you think sounds best in the context of the notes around it. So I'm going to demonstrate some ideas about trills with a little example from the Bach Minuet in G. This piece. And I'm in measure and it's written, etc. And there's a trill written on the second beat where the B is. So in my edition here, it says to go. Personally, I would not do that. I would do this. Because to me, the main design here is, and I want people to hear that. So that's what I would do. Now, if you don't like that, that's fine. You can start on the C. If you are teaching people who can't do fast trills, or you don't want to do a fast trill, you don't have to do a fast trill. You could do quite a slow trill, or you can do. So the exact rhythm of the trill is up to you. You don't have to trill for the entire length of the beat. You can trill a little bit and stop. That's fine for certainly trill written in Bach like that. And you can just leave it out entirely. You could also just play two notes. It doesn't sound very good in this example, but there are places where it does sound good to just play two notes. And that's the shortest possible trill, two notes. So I want to talk a little bit about a special type of trill that shows up pretty often, and it's in Mozart, and we call it a cadential trill, and that's because it's coming kind of at the end of the section where it sounds like things are closing off, like that's an example of a cadence. And that kind of sounds like the end of something. So Mozart likes to put trills in those situations. And this trill I'm going to be talking about is from this piece. And it's in measure 25. And so he has these all over the place. And people get into trouble with these trills. So for this situation, you're playing a Mozart sonata movement, and usually the first movement, not always, but usually it's marked allegro, which means fast. So people, either they don't plan out the trill at all, and something like, the left hand kind of goes wandering off, it goes missing, it stops playing, it gets tight, all kinds of strange things happen with the left hand. And when I suggest that they plan it out, they do two notes here to one note here, which really does not work if you're going to be doing the Mozart allegro tempo. It gets too fast. It's too fast for the right hand to do it realistically. So the best solution is to play three notes on the right hand per two notes in the left hand. And that would sound like that. And you may say, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do that. Three notes in one hand, two notes in the other. It's something you do indeed need to learn. It shows up in lots and lots and lots of pieces. So if this is the first time, you're encountering it here in a Mozart sonata, it's a lot of work to learn it in this context because you have to do it a lot. But it's work that you will that will stand you in good stead for other pieces. So this cadential trill, it has the same pattern 3 times, right? You have 3 of those, and the right hand is going. I'm breaking the left hand just to kind of make it more clear how it sounds, where the groups are. So you have to do that 3 times. So when you're learning the trill, practice it all in a row like that, all 3 beats. Maybe you just do. And then maybe you do this one. And then we can do bows. It's always good to start at the beginning, if you're starting at the beginning of the beat, to go to the beginning of the next beat. But the main thing I wanted to get to about this Mozart cadential trill is when you look at it on the staff, it's got a whole note, and then it says TR, and then there's this long squiggly line, and then at the end there's 2 little notes that are printed there. And what you often hear people do is like the machine gun trill, and then they play the little notes that are printed there like at a different speed, so they sound separated from the machine gun notes. And I don't know why people do that. I think maybe because that's what it looks like. You've got that squiggly line that looks like kind of one thing, and then you got those little printed notes, and that looks like some other thing. And so people are often doing things musically they're not aware of that are influenced by what it looks like on the page. But what I personally would prefer there, I'm going to play the 4th beat, is, so for the first half of the 4th beat, we have 3 notes here, 2 notes here. Second half of the 4th beat, I would play. So I'm going to do it both halves of the 4th beat. I'm going to go a little faster. A little faster. Now I'm going to add another beat in the front. I think I did that right. So that is all about the Mozart cadential trill. I've taught many people. I don't know how many, but certainly in the hundreds, possibly over 1,000. I don't know. But of all those people, I would say there were maybe 3 that could sit down and just think, oh, I'm just going to trill in this hand, just let it do whatever it wants, and I'm just going to keep track of this one. And if you're one of those rare birds that can actually do that and still keep track of the left hand, not get lost, not get mixed up, congratulations. The rest of us need to do this, planning it out. And even though it's painstaking, once you get one of these Mozart cadential trills, you got them all. They're all the same in terms of how fast they would go in an allegro movement. And I just wanted to end by giving an example of a place I thought a slow trill is nice, and that's in this piece. Or maybe even... So, and this is in measure 8. So, feel free to have different speeds on your trill.